Vote counting is underway in Gabon after the first presidential election since President Ali Bongo was toppled by a military coup in 2023. Interim President Brice Oligui Nguema, who led the efforts to remove Bongo, is expected to win the poll. The Interior Ministry says turnout was over 87%, with interim results expected later on Sunday. The election is seen as a key test of the military-led government's promise to return power to civilians. And for more, let's bring in Paul Melly. He's a journalist and consulting fellow of the African program at the think tank Chatham House. Good to have you with us. So the votes are still being counted, but some election monitors have claimed they were denied access to polling stations. So was this a fair election?
I think it was broadly fair, but it wasn't an absolutely perfect democratic test. Gabon had a long period of rule by one family, the Bongo family, for more than 5 decades. And it's inevitable that in the move to a new system, you will get some flaws and some pressures, but it was broadly fair, and it was certainly an awful lot more democratic than the 2 previous presidential elections in 2009 and 2026, or 3 in 2009, 2016 and 2023, none of which were very credible at all, and all of which sought to perpetuate the Bongo family regime and President Ali Bongo in power.
Right. Now, do tell us about interim President Brice Oligui Nguema, the coup leader and interim president. He's a strong favorite to win. What's behind his popularity?
Well, I think really 2 things. One is that he's ended dynastic rule. After such a long rule by one family, what the new constitution, whose introduction he has overseen, actually bans dynastic succession. So members of a president's family, an incumbent president's family, are simply not allowed to stand for election as their successor. So that's been very popular. And the other thing is that he has adopted an approach which is really quite different from those of the other military regimes that have taken power in coups across Francophone Africa over recent years. He's broadly overseen pluralistic politics, open debate, open discussion about the way forward. He's kept to his initial promise of a tight timetable, in fact, actually brought it forward by a few months, whereas in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Guinea, we don't really have any sense of exactly if and when elected civilian rule will be restored. And of course, there's a generational thing. Although Ali Bongo wasn't particularly old, because he came from this family that had been in power for so long, for a country like Gabon, where, like in most African countries, you have a huge proportion of the population who are young, it was very difficult to convey a sense of change. And simply by taking over in this way and then pressing ahead with some quite popular but pragmatic economic measures and signalling change, Nguema is, if you like, riding the mood.
Okay. Well, Paul Melly, really, really interesting talking to you. Paul Melly from Chatham House. Thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome.